everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I apologize for not being here for a few days. Poor Dragon Man has been, actually still is, very, very sick. He has been to the doctor twice in 4 days and all of that in the middle of his mid-year exam. To make matters worse, I spoke to the school and the deputy headmaster informed me that he cannot write on a different day as it will compromise the integrity of the exam paper. He also informed me that although poor Dragon Man has been top 10 student for a year and a half, that if he misses one paper, he is out of the running for top 10 this term. So in other words, he's being punished for being sick. So what did the doctor do? Well, he wrote out a certificate stating that Dragon Man has a severe bout of flu, that he is not to attend school for a week, that flu, and especially that type of flu, is contagious, but that Dragon Man should be allowed to go in 15 minutes before the exam starts and leave immediately once he has finished writing, and that he writes in isolation. But I tell you that I have not cried as much in 10 years. To see a big child that sick and with such a high fever as he had on Saturday and throughout the night was actually scary. My daughter actually drove into town after midnight to get ice lollies. We sponged him down for most of the night. I eventually went to sleep at 3 a.m. because I was already not feeling too bright. My daughter then went to lie down at about 6:30, and called me so that she could sleep a little. And guess what? I woke up Monday morning back to square one myself. I'm back into bed with quite a bad flu. Actually, I'm talking nonsense. I've not felt this sick except for a Crohn's flare-up. But those are two completely different things. I have tremendous earache and my throat is so sore that I can't even turn my head. Never mind. Anyway, guys, I've not even been keeping an eye on royal shenanigans. I mean, 5 minutes on my phone and my eyes are bloodshot. But this morning, while the medications are still holding me together, let's see what we can do. Okay, so I see that Harry wants to change his surname to Spencer, or he's considering it, or he's discussed it with his uncle, or whatever. But it's not the first time a story like that has actually surfaced, namely that Harry wants to change his name or then his surname to Spencer. And although he may be bonkers enough to just go ahead and do it, I mean, why would he? Is he hoping to inherit from Earl Spencer now that his chances of inheriting anything from the royal family is actually becoming less and less? Well, the Earl already said that the estate will go to his son. But, maybe he'll leave Harry a cow and a fruit tree. I mean, who knows? But, oops, I've just made a mistake. Harry already has a cow and some fruit. Anyway, guys, although I sincerely doubt Harry will go through with it and change his name to Spencer, well, I would say there's about a 20% likelihood because of his craziness. But, as far as I'm concerned, I wish Harry would do this. Change his and his children's and his wife's surname to Spencer. Although there's no law forcing a royal to bear the surname of Windsor or Mountbatten Windsor, the Queen did decree, with the support of the Church of England and the government of the time, that's around about 1960s, okay, I think. Well, it was in any event before Andrew was born, a couple of weeks before, that her descendants would bear the name Mountbatten Windsor. So technically it would only be considered rude and maybe disloyal to the monarchy and family should he actually go do that. Although lawfully it may not be enough to remove his titles and position in the line of succession, it may very well push the royal household, the House of Lords and the Privy Council even further and harder to move Parliament to actually remove all his titles and his position in the line of succession. Maybe it will also be the last straw for King Charles, and maybe it will stop him from opposing the removal of Harry's titles and place in the line of succession. Some people are saying that Meghan is very angry at Harry for wanting to do this, for this notion of his. Well, how do these people actually know that? Were they a fly on the wall at the Montecito mansion? You know, I may be 100% wrong, but I honestly do not think this story have many legs to stand on. Harry may have mentioned it to someone, but, you know, talking gobbledygook and actually doing something are two different things. I think the one thing we shall always be talking about, no matter what Harry and Meghan decides to do in their future, is the actual children. And reading a post by Cackleberry Cottage 2340, which I'm guessing was a post on X, but which appeared on Ledavin, Ledavin 2021's Instagram page, it made me rethink both births and the fact that someone like River on YouTube, who is indeed not a fan of the Harkles, but he's still 100% convinced, or at least he believes, that Archie and Lilybucks were born from between Meghan Markle's extremities. Well, you know, like I always regularly say, I was not a fly on the wall when those children were born. But I will bet any object inside or outside my home that she did not birth them herself. Not really, not actually, and definitely not normally. However, I won't bet my children, my grandchildren, or my dogs' lives on it, because I wasn't a fly on the wall. But anyway, how can we possibly actually believe that she did give birth? So let's look at Meghan's own bullshittery, as Trevor Colt would say. At 37 years old and 3 months after they got married, she supposedly fell pregnant. Now, when asked, Harry said they will have children in due time. They want to enjoy life and each other first and work for the monarchy, blah, 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 form a team, you know, all those things he said during the engagement interview. So I take it he wasn't planning on a pregnancy 3 months or maybe even 5 or 6 months to a year into the marriage. But never mind that. Knowing Meghan's moral values, I find it very unlikely that she wasn't on some sort of birth control. That is, assuming it is just BS that she had a hysterectomy. You know, there's that rumor as well. So, although none of this is a certainty, a woman on hormonal birth control pills will have her fertility return in about 3 months, okay? That is if she has nothing else wrong with her. She should fall pregnant within a year. IUD and implants, fertility should return within, say, 2 months, and most women, if they have nothing else wrong, should become preggers within 6 months. The injection takes a little longer. It can take 9 to 10 months for fertility to return to normal. And all of this depends on many other things, like a woman's overall health. We know Meghan smoked, for instance. How long the woman used birth control? Meghan likely started at 16, I don't know. And then fertility diminishes with age, particularly from about 35 onwards. And Meghan was 37. According to Meghan, she gained 65 pounds during her pregnancy. What a joke. Or shall I say, what a lie. Now, most average women, one who's not over or underweight herself, would gain between 25 to 35 pounds, or then 11.5 to 16 kilograms. Now, women of average weight, which Meghan was pre-pregnancy, would gain about 37 to 54 pounds, 16.5 to 24.5 kilograms when expecting twins. Now, sorry guys, but anyone who had been pregnant or has a family member, a colleague or friend who had been pregnant will know or may know that if a woman gains that much weight, that doctors may have severe concerns: high blood pressure, obesity, heart issues, diabetes, etc., etc. And a friend of mine says it is likely that at that kind of weight gain, at Meghan's age at the time, she would likely have spent the last few weeks on bed rest at home or in hospital, particularly in the case of a geriatric pregnancy, and obviously particularly because she was a royal. I mean, goodness, who wants to be the doctor or midwife losing a royal baby on his or her watch? I'm asking you. No one, I'm sure. And my friend says there's no way in heaven or hell where at that weight gain and age any doctor would let her go another 2 weeks or 2 weeks overdue. It just would not happen. Maybe a day, maybe 2 or 3, but not 10 or 14. Just not happening. According to everyone I asked, to in the medical profession, mind you, it is their opinion that Meghan has no idea what the average weight gain should be, and never expected that topic to come up in a discussion. So when it did, she grabbed at something she saw in a magazine, and I'm willing to seriously consider this 65 pounds to come from articles about Kylie Jenner in Hello magazine and others, where she particularly discussed her weight gain during pregnancy. Yes, Kylie, according to her, gained about 60 pounds during each of her 2 pregnancies. So Meghan had to go one better and make it 65 pounds, okay? And then Meghan had to explain how she was forced to wear 3-inch stilettos with pointy toes. Well, she did not say forced, but she alluded to it, which is absolutely BS. I went and particularly looked. Diana often wore flats while pregnant. Catherine was seen to wear chunkier heels, and so on and so on. So according to Harry, they went off to hospital. He gets high on gas. She gets 2 epidurals. The cord is wrapped around the baby's neck. But 2 hours later, they are at home, although she had developed postpartum eclampsia. I mean, what BS. If that is all true, then the Portland or the cottage hospital, remember she did not say which baby or which hospital, we are only assuming it is Archie because she was once again throwing shade at the royal family. Well, what I wanted to say is that if everything she said was true or is true, then the Portland or the cottage hospital were indeed very, very negligent. Very. Now, quite frankly, my dears, I am totally over it. I'm now blaming the royal family, or then the king and his council. You see, even if one or both those children spewed out of Meghan, they still did not conform to any of the rules and paperwork of any birth, and definitely not to any royal birth. And hence, as cute as those children may be, those children should not be in the line of succession or have titles unless or until all requirements are fulfilled and all requirements are met. And I believe from the royal household or from the royal office or whatever you want to call it, that there had been numerous requests for certain paperwork and they still have not received it. Now, what makes this shit even more obvious and ridiculous is that Harry and Meghan, or Harry or Meghan, definitely listen to our channels. And each time one of us had a valid point, they come up with a story. For instance, I was the one who told everyone that no one saw Meghan, Harry, or their bodyguards at the Portland. And I said that many years ago, before some of the bigger channels had even started their channels. And I confidently said that because I have someone I would easily, and I've said this once or twice, trust with my life, who knows most of everyone working at the Portland. Maybe not by name or age or whatever, but for instance by sight. She would be able to tell you this one works in that department or on that floor, kind of thing. Okay. Or at least she had at the time of Archie's birth. I'm not sure whether she's still that familiar with everybody. But anyway, so what did Harry do when he saw or heard me saying this? Or maybe someone saying it afterwards, I'm not sure. Well, he went and said, "Oh, no one saw us because we went up a secret elevator." Well, my friends, staff at the Portland are still, to this day, searching for that elevator now 6 years later. Okay, friends, that is as much as I can do today. Hopefully, it will all just get better from here on forward and come to an end soon. Hope we stop passing the flu on one to the other and back again. So that we can get back to our chats on almost a daily basis, okay? So until we see each other again, please take good care of yourselves, okay? Bye.